Hi there, this is Ranjit, and in this video, I want to discuss about powerful budget-oriented smartphones. And earlier this year, I tweeted that this is a great time for consumers. We are getting very powerful handsets for a budget-oriented price point. And this was started with Xiaomi, Leco, and others. They started to provide really powerful devices having Snapdragon 650 or 652 SoCs for just around 10 to 12,000, which was sort of unheard because if you recall, some vendors like Sony, etc. For example, they had Sony about 4 months ago launched Xperia series with 650 Snapdragon for about 46,000. So we started to get this, but it looks like this party is going to end. And the era of powerful smartphones at a budget-oriented price is going to end sooner than I wished. I always knew that this is going to happen because the problem was that, again, guys, we love that to see the fact that we want powerful smartphones for a very low cost. For example, let's say, I'm giving you a very hypothetical example. Let's say the manufacturing cost of a device is just say 100 rupees. We would love to see manufacturers sell it for 110 rupees. That's the holy grail. But the thing is that it's not just the production cost. It's a lot of other factors that add to the cost. For example, let's take the case of the iPhone 7 also. Apple has the highest margins, profit margins in smartphones. That's a different thing. But again, other vendors also, Sony, Samsung, etc. have pretty high margins. And the thing is that it's not just the cost of a device. For example, as I was talking, the iPhone 7 costs approximately about the regular iPhone 7 cost about 16,000 rupees to build it. That's the building cost. But what it sells for in India, the MRP price is what, 60,000 rupees. So it's what, more than like almost 4 times the cost of the manufacturing cost. Again, other vendors don't have this sort of luxury. Many of these Chinese vendors that actually started selling phones in India for a very aggressive price, they didn't have a lot of margins. And that's the thing. And just recently, just today, there was news about Leco that their cash flow has become really less and they are going to get now aggressive regarding the pricing and they're not going to subsidize the price. And let me talk about some of the costs that is involved, and we don't see that. The first thing is it's not just the building cost. As I told you, let's say a phone takes 100 rupees to build. This is the actual building cost, hypothetical example. But again, you have to add other cost also. There is the research and development design cost. And again, in every country they launch, they have to again go with the certifications for safety certifications like BSI, ISI, etc. This again costs, and this is different from every country. And again, these companies are big companies. They have to pay salaries to their engineers, development and whatnot. Again, there is if we are importing stuff from other countries, there are import duties. For example, it is levied in India if it's not a made in India product or something like that. Also, apart from that, there are retailers margin. Even if it's only online only product, for example, selling on Amazon and Flipkart, they're not doing a social service. I don't know the exact percentages, but it might be between 5 to 7% commission that these vendors have to pay to Amazon and Flipkart. And again, I got this figure from someone in the industry. Many phones that you see, many of the phones that are priced very aggressively that are only sold online. And I asked some mobile manufacturers and stuff who make decisions, why don't you sell these particular phones in the offline market? I asked them, they will definitely sell a lot more. And the blunt answer was that if they said that if it goes to the offline market, they have to bump up the price to around 20 odd percent, because when a product goes offline, there are a lot more different charges that gets added there. Region-wise distributor cut is there, then a local distributor is there, then for every shop then there's a different commission. So there are a lot of middlemen that get added if a product is offline only. So that's the reason that we see many of these budget-oriented phones, hot selling phones for a very aggressive price are only online. That's the main reason. And again, some companies do this, some companies don't do this. Companies, for example, Apple, Samsung, etc., do advertise heavily, and this is also actually taken in the cost of the product. Again, don't quote me for this, but I have heard that for some of the premium Samsung range phones, 20% of the cost what you are paying is indirectly for advertising. So it can be that high. And again, this will affect, again, this is the reason that after sales service is a lot better for premium brands, because some cost of the phone goes for developing their service centers and stuff. And again, every company needs to actually survive. So there is also inflationary pressure. For example, today, if you are a little bit into economics and stuff, you know that a value of 100 rupees today is not 100 rupees after a year. In real term, it devaluates to about anywhere from 11 to 15%. Companies have to jack up the prices. So as you can see, so these are the lot of things that affect the price. So that 100 rupees manufacturing cost, it's actually very difficult to actually just sell it for 110. That's the reason that there is a huge price difference. And lately, what these many of the Chinese companies and the new vendors were doing is that they were trying to sell most of their phones at almost with very less margins, I would say. And they were thinking that they'll grab such a huge market share, and when when it's time to upgrade after a year or two, users will be so used to their devices that they will go with a different model from that particular brand. But that's hardly not the case, especially in India these days. Let's say if you are going with the X brand, you liked it, but now a Y brand after 2 years is giving you a better deal or whatever. People just migrate to that. So that brand loyalty is simply not there in India. And many of these Chinese brands are now realizing that. For example, again, for the Lico just came to India this year and they advertised heavily. Nobody knew about Lico. And I don't know, Lico's marketing said that they launched the LE1S in India. That was their first device. And they said that their cost for getting the phone in India was close to around 14,000 and they were selling it for 12,000. So I don't know if that's true or not, but they were taking indirectly a loss on every device. And this they were doing just to gather the market share and whatnot. But just today there is news that Lico is in trouble because they were burning so much cash and expanding so quickly. And now Lico has put out a statement that they will stop subsidizing their smartphones and televisions that they were doing. So again, we have seen this with other Chinese vendors also who are not getting very aggressive with their pricing. For example, let's take the case of OnePlus. We know the OnePlus 3 is a fabulous phone, very good value for money, I would say. But again, the OnePlus 3, everybody when it was launched were a little bit annoyed that it was priced at 28,000. But still, the OnePlus 3 is selling, and OnePlus is not cutting down the price of the OnePlus 3, and it's staying at 28,000. So as you can see, the OnePlus has decided not to get into this price war game. They decided to price it at 28,000. Many of the people were thinking that the OnePlus 3, when it was launched, will be around 20 to 23,000, but that simply did not happen. Again, let's take the case of Huawei. Again, Huawei does not launch a lot of phones in India, but they did launch the Huawei P9, a camera-centric phone, but they priced it at what? 40,000. So looks like Huawei is also not interested into getting into that price war to gain that market share. Again, Huawei has also a sub brand in India that's known as Honor. And if you notice, last year Honor phones were very aggressively priced, but the situation has changed completely this year. For example, let's take the case of the Honor 8. It's priced at what? 30,000 rupees. In fact, it's priced more than the OnePlus 3, which simply does not make any sense. So it looks like even Honor is now not interested into that price war thing that is going on between many of the Chinese vendors, that is to grab the market share. And again, we have seen this with Asus also. It's a Taiwanese company. And Asus was very aggressive with their smartphones earlier. We could get the last generation Zenfone with 4 gigabytes of RAM for just 20,000. But now what? The Zenfone 3, which is just having the Snapdragon 625 chipset, it's not that powerful. They have priced it at what? 27 or 28,000. So it looks like Asus is also trying to get out of this price war thing. But again, I feel it's a very wrong strategy what these companies are doing. And that's the reason I think so the Zenfone 3 in India actually failed, because most of the consumers were adjusted of to buy the, what do you say, Asus Zen phones at the price range for the lower ends for about 10,000 and the higher ends for about 20,000. But now that's completely gone with the new range of Asus Zenfone 3. Their mid-range phone, the Snapdragon 625, is costing about 28,000, and the flagships are even crossing Samsung. So again, I don't see this strategy of because there is a brand perception. Obviously, Asus was people used to buy Asus phones because of their budget and great pricing, but now it's gone topsy-turvy. I don't know how Asus will get out of this, but this is a very what do you say, difficult place that these vendors have put themselves in. And right now, the only vendors that I see, Chinese vendors that are still aggressive with their pricing is, as of now, is the Xiaomi. Xiaomi continues to bring, they obviously don't bring most of their smartphones that are launched in China, but some of the selected phones that they bring in India, especially in the budget and mid-range, they are still pretty aggressive in the pricing. And the good thing is that even Xiaomi's budget-oriented phones don't skip on sensors. And again, there is another brand, that is Lenovo ZUK. Again, they are also bringing out powerful phones for a very aggressive price. But again, I don't know how long Xiaomi or Lenovo would continue to do this and get into this price war segment, because clearly looks like OnePlus has gotten out of that. Honor has gotten out of that. Asus has gotten out of that. And now today's statement by Lico that they are taking loss, sort of a cash crunch and stuff. So looks like they might also be getting out of this. So it looks like it's a time for consolidation, and moving forward, maybe in 2017 or whatever, I see prices of gradually some of even these Chinese vendors, the prices will go up. And I think so. On the other hand, there is premium brands like Apple. Obviously, Apple is not going to cut any prices. People buy their devices at whatever price point. In India, sadly, it's just a status symbol, I would say, with Apple. That's why they are able to command the pricing. And the fact is, iPhones are good and they can easily last for about 3.5 years easily. So I don't think so personally Apple is going to cut down the prices, but I feel some of the other vendors, for example, Sony really has to get a little bit more aggressive regarding the pricing of their smartphones. And again, the Google Pixel, I have raved about that device. It's a really good device. But again, in India, Google has to think a little bit about the pricing. Certainly, it's a good device, but pricey. On the other hand, I feel Samsung is now sort of adjusting the pricing. Again, the problem with Samsung is that when they launch the product in India, it's priced really high. For example, let's take the case of the Samsung Galaxy S7, which is still a very good phone. When it was launched at 50,000, but now I think so it is selling for 43,000. And I think so for the price of that 43,000, it's a very good deal. And again, Huawei pricing their P9 at 40,000. I think so the Galaxy S7 wins overall. So Samsung is getting a little bit sensible, but Samsung needs to, when they launch their devices, they should launch it at a decent price. Right now, the problem with Samsung is that if you are a loyal Samsung fan or you like Samsung devices, you are obviously going to buy it when it launches and you are going to pay a penalty. Most of the Samsung phones after about 4 or 5 months do see a price drop. So I hope that changes. And again, another company that I think so is adjusting to the change is the Moto. Moto again recently, as you can see, launched the Moto Z Play, which is a very good handset, very good build quality, great battery life, and that is selling for just 25,000. So I feel Moto, Samsung in the premium market are adjusting to this market, but again, other vendors have to adjust this. And again, I personally see some of the Chinese vendors. For example, let's take the example of Coolpad also. Just about 4 or 5 months ago, they launched a Snapdragon 617 based smartphone for, it was almost 24,000 or so, and it flopped. So again, I don't know how these Chinese vendors will increase the pricing, because we as consumers have gotten used to pretty powerful Android smartphones at a mid-range price segment under 15,000. So it'll be interesting to see how these Chinese companies cope up with that. But I personally see that the party of getting great budget-oriented, powerful smartphones is coming to an end. Do let me know your thoughts in the YouTube comments below, and let me know, do you agree with me or not. Again, guys, thanks for watching this video. This is Ranjit, and I hope to see you in my next video.